So I've now made over 667 long-form videos on YouTube. And in fact, that's probably a higher number because I used to create faceless YouTube videos. And of the ones I was able to count, I've actually done probably close to 1,000. And on this channel alone, nearly 300. So I want to share what I've learned, especially when trying to promote your own coaching services, online courses, and products. So as trying to grow your business, I want to share what I've learned and some important things that might help you grow your channel in 2026. The first one is that I realized a long time ago when I was growing faceless channels that you don't need to be on camera if you want to grow a YouTube channel and make money. But thanks to AI, things have changed. Obviously, people are smashing out a huge amount of AI content, especially on shorts. And we're starting to see the rise of long form again. We're actually seeing short form going down in terms of consumption and long form going up. And some experts out there, Neil Patel and so on, is suggesting that it's people getting tired of the sort of dopamine hacking edits that are really high paced, and shorts are obviously full of that. But I would also say it's a lot to do with trust. People are tired of sort of fake content and overly produced content. And I went on to shorts recently, and I don't know if you've been on there much recently. I've almost stopped going on shorts altogether now, and it's because I can't trust what my eyes are seeing. AI's gotten so good, even the sort of cat videos and so on, half of it's completely fake. They're actually taking other stuff, and because people don't want to get copyright strikes, it's easier to create AI content because it's 100% original. But this means that all you're watching is nothing but 90% pretty much AI content. So I think shorts are going to struggle with that moving forward, and long form is on the rise, but also people are craving real. They want more authentic. So yes, you can do faceless channels. Yes, you don't have to be in your videos, but I think if you can get on camera, especially as a coach or educator, it will give you a massive unfair advantage. But if you really can't, then what I would do is still just focus on one channel and building a brand around that. Have your style. So even if you're watching this and, normally I'm speaking to educators and coaches and so on, but even if you're someone growing a faceless channel, I would focus on one channel now. One channel, make better videos, make more videos, and create a brand around it. And just as someone growing their branded channel, you should do the same with your faceless channel and add multiple revenue streams. So yes, learning that you don't have to be on camera and that you don't even have to use your own voice is amazing for some people. That is a massive barrier for them. But just really think about it moving forward, and that people are going to get quite tired of AI and faceless stuff moving forward. So you really have to stand out and do something different and build that brand. The next thing is that AdSense is not going to make you much money. Unless you're in a viral niche when it comes to your business and your brand or whatever it is that you're doing, AdSense doesn't add up quite the way you think it's going to. Unless your CPM, which is obviously how much YouTube pays you per 1,000 monetized views, unless that's really high and you're getting an absolute ton of viral views, so you're getting millions of views, it's never really going to be a full-time business. Now, I work with people that are getting millions of views and they're making great money, so 100% you can absolutely do it, but not in every niche. And if you have your personal brand or your business and you're actually working in a particular area because that's where your skills and expertise are, and you think, I'll start a YouTube channel and I'll make some money and it's going to be great. I'm going to start a channel, I'm going to get some views, I'm going to make some extra money, and this is going to be my side hustle. I can tell you now that especially for educators and coaches, and in fact, education is half of the YouTube platform. So 50% is entertainment, 50% is education. Most education channels, unless they're in a broad niche, are not going to get a lot of views. Typically, they all get less than 100,000 monthly views. And in fact, 100,000 monthly views in an education channel is incredibly good. 100,000 views is great for growing your business. You can make an absolute ton of money from that, but it's probably only going to be $500 to $1,000 in ad revenue. So knowing that, you have to monetize in other ways. You have to create a product, have a coaching program, have other ways to monetize it, because even with that volume of views, unless they're very, very targeted and valuable to sponsors, they're not going to pay you huge amounts of money either. So you really want to be monetizing in your own way. Have a plan for how you're going to make money. Build a community, have a program, have an online course. If you would like to know how we do it, I'll link to our free community in the video description where you can learn more. But have some way to increase your CPM yourself by getting people off of YouTube. So see ad revenue just as a nice bonus, but know that as a coach or educator, it's not reliable and it will go up and down throughout the year. So you need another plan in place. The next point is coming back to AI again, because it is absolutely flooding the platform and YouTube is embracing it. They are creating their own AI tools. I believe you can even now make AI shorts. It's here to stay and it's only going to get bigger and bigger and better and better. But there will be two camps. So AI, you're either on board with AI and you want to make AI content and you want to make some fast cash, go for it. Go nuts. There is a lot of money to be made, but it's changing so fast, and it's one of the reasons I got out of it, is because the technology, you just can't keep up with it. The policies and rule changes are happening fast and furious, and I just think it's problematic in terms of creating your brand, especially as a coach or educator. So there really are two camps out there, those who are embracing AI and those who are rebelling against it. And I think a lot of the information and education space is going to be the ones who rebel against it because they're craving to work with people, connect with people. It's why community platforms are massively on the rise. It's not just school now. There's at least half a dozen new community platforms out there that are absolutely taking off. So community is the rebelling against that. We're also seeing it in authentic content. People are craving more of that authentic content, more of that single take recording videos, out and about walking. A lot of stuff that we would consider vlog style videos. I know people use vlog in different ways, but for me, vlogging is the more laid back type of content. It's where you're unscripted, you're sharing your views and opinions, your thoughts. This more unfiltered type of content is more real to people, leaving in some of the mistakes, leaving in the breath sounds. I used to cut out all of my breath sounds because we wanted videos to be perfect. So it's amazing how things have changed, where now it's a one-take recording. Before it was a teleprompter removing any breath sound, and now we're leaving the breath sound in so people don't think we're AI. So it's funny how these things have changed. But I think you have one camp or the other, and if you want to go coaching, I highly recommend that you do a branded channel and you move more towards the human side, because I think it's going to be easier for you to stand out moving forward. And I think there'll be just as much volume there in terms of making money. But I think most of the education is probably going to go that way, unless you can do very highly polished quality videos with AI, which might come. But there's going to be two camps, and I would bet on one. Both, I think, will make money. You just got to decide which angle you want to go for. The next one, which is an interesting one, is that search is on the decline. Now, search in terms of social media platforms as a whole is up. So people are still searching on YouTube in general, but they're searching more on all social media platforms, and they're not searching as much on Google. They're either going with AI and asking, say, ChatGPT directly, or they're asking on the social media platforms directly. So actually, Google itself and these search engines are becoming less and less relevant. But for the most part, we are moving away from search in general, I would say, in terms of the volume of content consumed, we're moving away from that on YouTube as well. I actually still think optimizing for search is great because you want to be able to tap into people searching for different topics and videos, especially as an educational creator, because people are going to be looking. That's intent driven, and intent driven traffic is always red hot because then people want to watch it. They've got a higher click-through rate and they're looking for it. So search used to bring in over 60% of my traffic, and it was very, very stable. So I think optimize for that. But now that the AI and the algorithm's getting smarter, you don't have to do as much optimizing. I would say do a lot of optimizing in the beginning until the first 30 videos or so, until the channel gets to know you and, well, the AI and the algorithm gets to know you and understands more about what your channel is about. And then it's just going to be reading the scripts of the video on its own. It's going to be looking at a bit of the metadata. But I do see a lot of channels as they've gotten bigger, they're not doing anything. They don't put a description anymore. They don't put tags. They don't do hashtags. They don't do anything. All they do is their title, put the link to their offer, and then make the video, and that's it. And they just leave the rest to AI. So as a new creator, don't do that. Optimize. But as a bigger creator, it's becoming less relevant. It's all interest driven now. The main thing I would lean into is remaining relevant and on point for your audience. So I would actually try to remain niche or within relevancy. So people are going to want to watch most of your videos who are subscribed. So you want to remain relevant within that circle, and you want that circle of relevancy to grow. And this is why people's audiences are actually often getting smaller, because they don't remain relevant. And because ideally you want to remain relevant to your existing audience, and we want YouTube to keep adding more people to that, so the relevancy and the circle of your relevancy gets bigger. So if you're not getting a reliable growth in terms of views on your channel, it's not growing up little by little, it means you're not remaining relevant, or your videos are not all connected and not all speaking to the same person. So relevancy is everything now, and it's not really about subscriber notifications or anything else. So understand that it's interest driven, so therefore you need to remain within the interest of your audience. So the next point is still fairly in line with what I was just saying, is that YouTube is spreading out the audiences broader. They're actually sharing out the views more. They're giving small channels a lot more opportunity. So it's a great opportunity as a new creator to get on the platform and start getting views. As a small creator, it's the best opportunity ever. As a bigger creator, I'm seeing some of them that have been around for a long time. We've seen them decline and struggle with the new way the algorithm works. So obviously, it's like anything. It's like the Robin Hood philosophy. If you're going to take from the rich and give to the poor, it's just very much the sort of way that it's working on YouTube a little bit now. That's not to say that the big ones don't have some authority. It's not to say that if they understand how to play the game a bit more, that they can't remain relevant and grow. But it's amazing how I see some large channels that are very similar to each other not consistently get the same amount of views. Some channels have got a video might go totally viral, and then the next one doesn't at all. I think this is because they're trying to do the old way of doing YouTube, which is staying within a general area, but trying to target different audiences. Where I notice the ones that stay more on theme and there's kind of more tight in the topics, and each video is made for almost the same person, those people seem to get a stable baseline. So rather than getting 500,000 views on a video and then 50,000, they maybe get 150,000 as the minimum, and then some go up to 600,000 and so on. So by remaining more relevant, you will get more. But we're also seeing this sharing out of content more. So that means that it's going to be coming from somewhere and going to someone else. But it's a great opportunity if you're a small channel, especially. So if you're discouraged and you're thinking, oh, it's too busy out there, it's too congested, I'm too late to YouTube, you're definitely not too late. There's plenty. It's a growth market. People are watching more and more content on the YouTube platform. YouTube is the #1 streaming platform now. They are getting more views than ever. So honestly, as a small creator, it's the best time to start. You just have to get better at presenting on camera. You need to get comfortable at talking on camera, getting out there and just creating content and doing it. And you will get views. YouTube will give you a chance. And that slides us into the next point, which is obviously talking about YouTube growing and getting bigger and bigger and being the #1 streaming service. That is incredible to hear, because what we are actually seeing when you look at the data and you look at even YouTube's data, TV is on the rise. I didn't even know that until this year. And then you start to look at your analytics, and even on my channel, which is really computer and phone heavy, I've got about 15 to 16% of people watching on TV, which blows my mind. And that obviously is starting to outstrip many of the other areas. In fact, I think it's starting to outstrip the mobile phone part as speed of growing. So we need to start thinking about YouTube more as a TV show, making higher quality, thinking about that audience, think about your niche and what you're teaching, and knowing that maybe a huge part of your audience will be watching on TV. Maybe you should have QR codes instead of links in your description. Maybe you should have 4K recordings. Maybe you should think about longer videos, knowing that people are not going to want to, change the video as much with a remote control as they will be swiping on their phone. So we're actually seeing people want to watch longer videos on TV. So therefore, this is why we're seeing a lot of videos moving past the sort of 30-minute mark these days. And I think that has a lot to do with TV. So I think in 2026, TV is going to start dominating, especially as we're seeing a decline on a lot of other streaming services. I think thanks to AI, thanks to more creators, thanks to creators creating better content, YouTube is going to absolutely dominate on TV. And if you think yourself, have you started to watch on TV? And if the answer is yes, then that might be a sign that you need to lean into that a little bit more. And with that said, quality doesn't necessarily equal better. So although, yes, we could say we want to make better quality for our TV audience and so on, I think we also have to recognize that simple videos are still dominating right now. That can shift at any point. There could be a move back towards more polished types of content. But I think thanks to AI, the more simple, authentic type of content, the one take, the rougher, real type of content is going to be working for a long time to come. So if you're scared to make videos, know that mistakes, people forgive it more than ever. The only thing that's important is good sound. So make sure you've got good sound, but using your phone, I see channels exploding right now, and it's just people recording on their phone, in their cars, walking around. We have clients in the community that record when they're walking their dog and so on, and they're getting absolutely massive amounts of views, and they're selling out their programs. So it's crazy to know that quality is subjective, and you may be thinking that high production means better results, more sales, more views and all of this. It doesn't. It actually doesn't. It's subjective. So actually it's what you're saying in the video. So if I can give you any tip, it's to just press record. Just press record and start talking. Have some bullet points and just talk to the camera like you're talking to a friend. But make sure what you're talking about isn't just you blabbing on. We actually still have to have some structure to it, some point to it. But quality doesn't mean better. And I think this is a real opportunity for people, especially in the beginning, to grow and create more content while learning. That way you can smash out your first 100 videos a lot faster. And you can learn a lot faster as well. So know that it's actually better, and to a degree, especially if you're in education and coaching, lower quality, or should we say low edit videos and just talking, conversational types of videos are actually performing really, really well. They're performing just as better than the highly polished ones in terms of views. So it doesn't really make sense in terms of ROI, especially in the beginning when you don't know what you're doing, to go for high polished ones. You might as well produce 4 or 5 videos a week than one that might not do well. So go for volume in the beginning and just get the reps in so that you get better. The next one, and is something that I was speaking about towards the end of last year, but I don't know if I've really improved this myself. I've tried, and I will be trying again, and that is storytelling. Using story inside your videos. Now, when I was creating more vlog style of content, the story part was easier. But when I'm doing a lot of ones where I'm on the computer and I'm sharing examples and screenshots or using my iPad, then it tends to be a little bit more geeky, a little bit more strategy, which is great. And I think a core part of my audience, that's what it's about. But if you can use story, humans are geared up to understand the world and communication and society through story, through examples. How many times when somebody says something, the way that your brain works is it tries to run through an example in your head so that you can understand the context of what they're saying. And that's because humans have evolved to understand the world through story. Even as a child, nursery rhymes and so on were how we conveyed messages to children, it's how we conveyed messages not to go into the woods and so on. So story is a huge part of our culture and society, and our brains have evolved for that. And I'm seeing channels that have just exploded in 1 year. They've gone from 0 to hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and they're doing the same thing as everyone else, apart from the fact that they're using story in a better way. So if you can get the foundations of understanding how story works and use it inside your videos. So if you can get this sort of just talking to the camera down, and you can also use story to drive home the point of what you're trying to say, then I think you're going to get much better results, and you're going to connect with your audience a lot. And make sure the stories are relatable to the topic that you're talking about, or mundane stories, so relating to anything that the mass appeal people will understand. When you get too geeky on the story, it may not work as well, because people can't necessarily relate to it. But if I talk about doing my laundry, or getting a puncture in my tire, or something that many people can relate to, then obviously these are mundane stories, but many people can relate to the pain and they can tap into that emotion and that feeling. Therefore, you drive connection because of that particular story. So if you're going to learn anything other than presenting and talking on camera, I would say getting elements of storytelling into that is definitely something to do. The next one I learned the hard way to a degree, especially when I was growing faceless channels. I used to, like many people, when you start out, you start to copy other channels and you start trying to replicate what everybody else is doing. And very quickly, as you got to understand YouTube and you understood how the analytics worked and how all of the different things worked inside, you saw that sometimes a video would go viral later on, and sometimes a video would go viral immediately. Sometimes a video that should go viral didn't, or a video went up and then suddenly stopped. And no journey is the same. Nobody's journey on YouTube is the same. You don't know why a channel exploded. You don't know. There's core things they're doing right. Now, most people that do explode, if they did things slightly differently, they may still explode, but maybe not as quickly because they were perhaps still just good and doing the foundations right. So if you do the basic things, then normally you're going to eventually win. But nobody's journey is the same. So I don't recommend that you copy people because you don't know what combination of videos and maybe some external traffic pushing towards things, that'll be the combination that triggers the algorithm to push a video more, which then makes it potentially go viral. So honestly, don't copy as much. Take inspiration, look for outliers, make them your own, but also then come up with your own ideas and really try to never directly copy. I think steal like an artist is the best way of looking at it. Definitely replicate formats and packaging that's working, but don't directly steal and directly copy because you won't get the same results. You think you will, but you won't get the same results as other people because nobody's journey is the same. And what happens in the back end, you can't see. My last one is that if you can be on camera, then I would be on camera. You're going to learn so much in terms of confidence, in terms of skills, in terms of so many different things, everything from editing to idea. You're just going to, especially if you're an educator or coach, you're going to get so much more from being on camera. You're going to learn a lot of skills and you're going to gain a lot of confidence. And if you're chatting to people on camera through Zoom and so forth anyways, then this should come naturally to you. And if you just get comfortable with a sort of low edit talking style, then it's just going to be the same thing that you're doing in your coaching calls, but you decide on what you're going to talk about, and then you have some bullet points and you just talk to it. But honestly, if you can get on camera and you're willing to do it, I would just be in the videos because I think that now for people is an unfair advantage. So before, with the faceless stuff that I've had and the wisdom that I've learned from that is like, yes, an unfair advantage was the fact that we could edit videos and we could do the voiceovers and so on where others couldn't. But then AI replaced our voices. AI started to make the barrier of entry drop down. So now you're competing against the entire world when it comes to things like AI and video production. So your opinions, your views, your face, and you willing to be on camera is something that people for now can't really replicate. And even then it would probably be against the law. So they'd be stealing your identity. So you are your unfair advantage. So honestly, if you can, I would get on camera. I would record videos in 2026. Just get comfortable with doing it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it. And just get on camera, press record, and start recording. So there you go. Those are the things I've learned from creating probably close to 1,000 videos on YouTube. As always, if you would like help growing your coaching business with YouTube and community, then I'll link to that in the video description. Otherwise, let me know your thoughts on this video. Share in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.